Hey everybody, it's Neil Parfit here. Happy May 1st, 2023. I am reaching out to the internet for help, which means I'm going to get 20 million different answers, half of them probably trolling me, but that's fine because I don't have all the answers sometimes. I am a music person, first and foremost. I deal with audio, number two. And way down on the list, maybe number 4,210, I deal with video, like YouTube and stuff like that. And my system is recording all this stuff in 1080p. Looks pretty good, I think, aside from my mug, usual situation. But I use this for a lot of things since COVID. I can show clients my work. I can show them like what I'm working on, be it Pro Tools, Logic. They can hear all the audio. I can talk picture in picture, which I'll show you in a second. And it's all done via hardware, so it's all instantaneous. There's no additional post work I have to do. I can just hit record in QuickTime and I'm done. As soon as I'm done, I can just drop that file onto YouTube or whatever, and we're good to go. So let me show you what I have now. So here's my picture in picture. Didn't have to do any editing after the fact. It's just done. This is Neil's easy as fuck 1080p capture / guest lecture / conferencing, all the things for video. The way I have it is I have my Neely cam, which is me. It's a Sony ZV-1, HDMI to an HDMI to SDI adapter. That's going across the room on BNC cables to the other end, converted back to HDMI, and there's a Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro ISO Velcroed up on the wall over there near all my other gear. And same kind of idea here. I'm going to have an overhead camera above me on the producer's table that can point down at the various synthesizers and gear. Gets there the same way. And then without getting into too much, I run 4 4K monitors. My primary monitor, which is my center one I always look at, that's software mirrored to another adapter. And that's a third source on the switcher. And that's how I'm getting my picture in picture right now. And not to get into this either, but the AES output feed from my monitor control system, my audio monitoring that is injected into that same HDMI feed from the 4K center screen picture. So whatever I open up, we can hear it. It doesn't matter if it's Pro Tools using its own hardware or Logic or the internet or QuickTime, whatever, games, doesn't matter. Whatever I hear will automatically be piped over into this system. So I don't have to configure anything. I don't have to run any sort of virtual audio drivers to get, sound from one app to another, all that fiddling bullshit. No, what I hear is what I get. So just looking at my little list here, this whole thing allows immediate zero configuration or system overhead to record my 1080p stream of program output to QuickTime. And that's what I'm doing right now. I can switch back to my camera. I can do a picture in picture of me. If I have my other camera hooked up, it would be a picture of the overhead. The computer isn't dealing with any of this. It's just recording in the final video, which is what I want. I don't want to do any post-processing. So it's recording that. I can switch between up to 4 sources actually in real time. The ATEM is doing the picture in picture processing. It's adding my overlay with my little cartoon thingy in the right-hand corner. What we hear is what we get, is like Logic, Pro Tools, audio, whatever. It's all in there. I don't have to configure anything. I just open it, hit play like I was just listening to stuff, and it works. And I can use this exact same setup to spoof webcam apps. So if I'm doing a guest lecture to a college or university on Zoom, I can show them music. I can show them Pro Tools. I can show them all that stuff. I can do an instructional thing, picture in picture like this, and it just gets there. I don't have to do anything. And I'm using the exact same, I'm using all this stuff in a seamless way with my existing gear that's here. There's nothing extra I have to do, no post editing. And most importantly, this video gear is silent. The ATEM makes no noise. My cameras make no noise. There's no noise in my studio. This is it. So I thought well, my cameras are 4K capable and my main screen is 4K. Wouldn't it be great to just run this in 4K? Like, how hard could that be? And that's when the rabbit hole began. I spent like half a day trying to figure out a solution to this. And The only solution I could come up with that would be just as seamless um, is really expensive, like almost 7 grand. And I was just like, holy shit, there has to be a better way, but I can't find one. So if anybody has a better way, let me know based on all these factors I've just listed out. So this is what I figured out as a solution in 4K. So flipping over to this. So same thing. Cameras are the same. The HDMI to SDI adapters have to be upgraded to 12G, which is fine. I was expecting that. The only thing I could find that can add those graphic overlays and do the picture-in-picture and all that stuff in the same real-time manner is the Blackmagic 1ME Production Studio 4K. The only problem is it's about $4,000 Canadian, which is absolutely insane. And it doesn't have any sort of Thunderbolt or USB-C to get to the computer. Like you have to have another device to do that. So the only thing I could find was the Blackmagic Ultra Studio 4K Mini. So you basically take 4K out program output from the Production Studio 4K, run it into this Blackmagic Ultra Studio 4K Mini, and then it's a Thunderbolt 3 connection to the computer, and then you can capture from that. The only problem is it works with capture software, but it won't spoof a webcam for Zoom or Skype or any of those things. Like they purposely didn't do that because they want you to buy something else. So I'd have to keep my ATEM mini switcher in the picture just set to a single source just to grab a 1080p downscaled signal from this 4K mini, and it runs USB-C into the computer to spoof a webcam. So if I didn't need to spoof a webcam, I wouldn't need this ATEM mini anymore. But because I either want to capture like program material or use it as like a Zoom conferencing kind of thing, I need both. So it's ridiculous. So this whole thing would cost me in Canadian dollars about $350 for the adapters, $3,900 for the Production Studio 4K ME, and another $1,500 for this Ultra Studio 4K Mini. And the problem here is Blackmagic and their rack mount stuff is notoriously really loud. Like they don't publish their noise specs. And I remember buying something a few years ago and I had to return it because I turned it on and it just screams like it's unusable in a studio environment. So I don't know if the Production Studio is even usable, the 4K version, sorry, because the loudness specs are unknown. So I'm not going to take a $4,000 chance, to find out this thing is noisy and unusable. I'm not going to buy it anyway because it's too expensive, but you know what I mean? It's like all their photos are in these like nice studio environments, but you couldn't have something that screamy in a studio environment. Just as another thing, I was looking at internal capture cards, but they're not passive. They all have these screamy little fans in them, so I can't use that. And all my internal slots are used up with all my audio stuff anyway, so that's not an option. An alternative that I saw was the Elgato 4K 60S Plus for about $350 US as a capture option versus $1,500, but it's not Mac compatible. So I would have to record it to an SSD standalone and then take that out and copy it over to the computer. And at least that's sort of a fumbly way to do it. $350 versus $1,500. I'd almost opt to spend the $1,500 because it's directly into Final Cut or whatever and you're done. Whereas this, it's one extra step. And I'm trying to eliminate steps, right? Anyway, so this whole thing is a bit of a conundrum. And I'm just curious to know what you all think. Like, how would you do it? Like, I don't want to deal with OBS because I don't want this to take any system overhead. I don't want to deal with software configuration. The hardware is a set, forget, and go. And I like it that way. Maybe I'm old school. I just don't want to dick around with stuff. I just want it to work. I want to hit a thing and go, and that's it. And OBS is like the absolute opposite of that. And I have no room inside for a multi-channel 4K capture card. And even if I did make room, those cards have massive fans on them, and I don't want that. So I'm in this little vicious cycle here. I don't know what to do. And probably at the end of the day, I just won't do it because A, it's too expensive. B, I don't know if it'll be too noisy. And C, I'm just getting mad already, just kind of going in this vicious cycle of research. So, and it was funny because like someone was like, "Oh, you should check out Roland gear," and I was like, "Oh yeah, Roland's usually pretty affordable because like they make affordable synthesizers." And I was just looking online, and they had this like Switchbox thing in 4K, and it looks kind of cheap, and I was like, "That looks like it could solve the problem." And then I looked up the price, and it was $16,000, and I was like, "Well, nope, that's not happening." Anyway, so if anybody has any ideas, let me know. And I'll just switch back to my picture in picture here. If we go back here, these are my specs. I can switch between three 1080p, or right now I can switch between the three 1080p sources. I can do picture in picture. I can do graphic overlays. I can capture. I can spoof a webcam, and it's all immediate. There's no configuration ever. I just open whatever app I'm using, be it Zoom or whatever, QuickTime, it just works immediately. That's the most I ever have to do. If you have ideas how to do this in 4K without spending $7,000, let me know because, yeah, I'm at my wit's end with this. So anyway, this was an example of a continuous stream with no editing. And yeah, let me know, Internet. Have a good evening. See you later. Fade to black in real time.